The trail of the 3rd Army and the 19th Tactical Air Command and the 8th Air Force is marked by more than 40,000 white crosses, 40,000 dead Americans.
We were young and soldiers taught to dedicate our lives in the name of God and country. Do what's just for us, go do what's right. A hot band of brothers waiting on our chance to add one more page unto the victory dance. Here am I, Lord, send me, send me. Victory lies in the spirit of the lives of the men who died for me.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord say, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
This is Michael Broderick, Marine Corps veteran, actor, and Gallant Few board member. You are listening to the New American Veteran on Vets on Media. Now here's Carl Monger.
And here I am. Hey, welcome. Today is April the 30th, 2014, and you are listening to Gallant Few's The New American Veteran. I'm your host, Carl Monger, the founder of Gallant Few, and I'm very proud to be an American veteran. For all you that are watching on YouTube, thanks for joining us, and for all of you that watch it later, thanks for watching. This program is dedicated to those who said, "Here am I, send me," and we honor our veterans, celebrate those who have succeeded in their civilian careers, and identify areas and resources that help veterans leverage their military experience into successful and rewarding lives after the military. This episode is dedicated to the 5 United Kingdom servicemen killed in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan about 4 days ago. They were some of the British Army's most skilled pilots and were part of a squadron that supported SAS and SBS troops. If you know what that means, it's Special Air Service and Special Boat Service. So it's the equivalent of some of our SEAL team and some of our other special operators. So you know, they probably worked with our guys and our women. So you know they've got friends that are hurting, and there may be some others that are injured too that we just don't know about. Hopefully joining me in the studio today, I'm going to keep looking out my window because Ranger veteran Brian Tharp, who's here in town, he's a regimental guy, he's an attorney, and he had an interview just a little while ago, and he needs to come all the way across town, and I don't know if he's going to get here right away, if it's going to be a little while, maybe if he gets hung up, if his meeting went really well, he might not even be here at all. So we'll just play it by ear, and if you see me hop up, run around the corner, maybe I'll throw some sound on, or maybe I'll just keep talking while I'm going, remembering not to strangle myself with my cord. And then I'll get him in, sit him down, we can talk a little bit. I hope he's able to get here so that he can join in with the discussion. Also, my first guest, I just got a message a minute ago that Sergio Machado is stuck in traffic. There's a bad accident. He's one of them California guys, and he's probably not going to be able to get on the show here until about another 20 minutes. So I'm juggling to see if I can get Aaron Childress on first off the bat. So we're going to try him here in just a minute. I want to remind you to check into gallantfew.blogspot.com. It is the companion blog for the New American Veteran. We post a lot of things there during the week. We're trying not to overwhelm you with information, but we certainly want to make sure that the information that we put out is timely, so we want to get it out quick. But it's of interest to our veteran population. Sometimes there may be 2 or 3 blog posts that go out in a day. Sometimes there might not be one for 2 or 3 days. It all just depends. But we will try to not overwhelm you. But go visit gallantfew.blogspot.com because you're going to find content there that is not reflected. I'm getting a message from Sergio that says he might be able to do his Google Hangout while he's in his car. So we'll see what happens here. This could be a first for the show. So, okay, I talked about the blog spot. I want to say Today's show is brought to you by Two Vets Arms Company and by a company called Urgency. That's Urgensee, Urgency. And Urgency is a data company that does internet stuff. And Dan, who's my contact with that company, has donated a tremendous amount of that company's time for Gallant Few to be able to leverage the data that we're collecting. Let me tell Sergio here that it's going to be a few minutes. And this might end up working out after all. Okay, so back to Dan Woodward and Urgency. And an update that we have going on right now is our Salesforce database. So when we started Gallant Few 4 years ago, and about a half a year after that, we got all our web stuff up and started taking information. We went through a very clunky period. Any new organization that grows is going to do this. And so some people that signed up to help, to be mentors, or that asked for help, I believe that we've contacted everybody that's out there, but I couldn't document it. I didn't know it, and I couldn't measure it. So we have been working really hard to try and get all of that stuff up to date and corrected. Heidi Kitts has just joined Gallant Few. Right now she's in an outside contractor role with the role of Gallant Few Transition Operations Manager. Transition Operations Manager sounds real like a big title. We're just going to call her Tom. But Heidi is the spouse of Sergeant First Class retired Philip Kitts, who went, and I've interviewed him on the show a couple of times, so you may have heard him before. And Gallant Few helped him out last year with his small business, his small photography business. He has a tremendous amount of experience of navigating both the AW2 and the VA system, and his spouse, who formerly worked in the Washington, D.C. area, is very connected with a lot of the caregiver stuff and how to apply for benefits, as well as her knowledge of overall transition. How, when you go through the medical retirement, she's been through all that stuff. You know, I can talk about service disabled veteran-owned small business with my eyes shut, probably in my sleep, because I've been through it several times myself personally. So she has been through some of the transitional stuff that I have not. Plus, she has this eye for detail. So she's going to be reaching out and contacting everybody that's in our database. And when you roll in veterans that have asked for help, veterans that have offered help, civilians that have volunteered, and donors, we're talking about over 5,500 people that are in our database. So we're going through all of that right now and making sure that it's up to date and correct. So bear with us while we do that, because if there's anybody out there that we have not gotten to timely, first off, I'm going to apologize, and I'm going to do push-ups, and then we're going to get fixed what we need to get fixed. Some of the volunteers that are out there want to know, when am I going to get to volunteer? Well, the answer is, until we have a veteran that's coming back to your community, then I don't have anybody to connect you with yet. But that could happen tomorrow. So we always have to be kind of like standing in the door waiting for that next veteran to pop up and say, hey, I'm moving to Nebraska, or I'm moving to Iowa, or I'm moving to Texas. And then we're going to reach out in that community and get them connected. There have been some really cool things that have happened here recently. I'm not going to talk about them all right now because I'm going to keep moving. I also want to give special mention to Rogue American Apparel. A huge part of Gallant Few's initial growth was the Ranger Network. And now we have the Raider Network. And the Raider Network, excuse me here a second. The Raider Network is Marine Corps veterans, started and led right now by a MARSOC, Marine Special Operations veteran, who is reaching out through that community and organizing them so that they are better able to take care of Marine veterans leaving active duty through the same exact kind of system that we use for Rangers. I'm looking to expand that in the Air Force, the Navy. Philip Kitts is helping us with the big Army. Pretty soon, our plan to take over the world is just that every veteran is matched to another veteran that is like them, so their transition goes peacefully and smoothly and successfully. So I'm very proud to mention Rogue American Apparel as the first Raider Project founding donor. Now that's separate from the Gallant Few founding donors. The Raider guys, they got to do their own thing. So they're establishing a list and recognition on raiderproject.org that has to do with the founding donors for the Raider Project. So please go check that out. Now remember, Gallant Few's purpose is to prevent veteran unemployment, homelessness, and suicide. We fight the isolation that leads to despair by connecting the hometown threads of all of our separate services into a functioning and nationwide web of support. Now an example of that is here. Let me bump over, and I want to play this clip. I had the opportunity to meet this gentleman while I was at a Association United States Army event over the weekend. This is Maggie McGillis. Maggie is the most decorated officer of the 82nd Airborne. He's a World War II veteran and dynamic guy. Here, I want you to listen to this because he's saying hi to y'all.
I'm delighted to extend my greetings to all the veterans out there. I'm Jim McGillis, a World War II veteran. Just celebrated his 97th birthday, and I'm here autographing books at this event, and we're honoring veterans today. And so I extend my gratitude, my thanks to all of you, and tell you that be proud to be an American, and be proud to be in the U.S. Army, because we've done a lot of great things for a lot of people. And I think we have very much to look back upon the things that we've done. And so I'm pleased to extend my gratitude and thanks to everybody, and hope to see you.
And I got his autograph in here. There's a copy of his Distinguished Service Cross citation, and it was quite an honor to meet him. But I wouldn't let them give me the book. I bought the book. And I'm looking forward to reading that. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I've heard it's dynamic. Okay, so let me keep moving here. Let me get back on my script. Let me see here. All right. One of the things that we have focused very carefully on, and I'm delaying this just a little bit because I want to get Sergio when he's in a good spot. We believe the likelihood of post-traumatic stress being bad. Everybody's got post-traumatic stress. Depending on, and this is me talking, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just an observer of the human condition, and I've experienced a couple of things myself. Everybody gets post-traumatic stress from just all kinds of stuff. When you are repeatedly over and over exposed to the danger, that is an increase in the frequency, duration, and intensity of exposure to trauma. And Rangers, MARSOC, frontline grunts, they lead the way with exposure to trauma by simple definition of their job. Now, there are drivers that are running the roads that are exposed to constant stress because of the imminent threat of an IED. I mean, can you imagine every time you get in your car and drive around the block, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to get blown up? It's something that the American population has no idea of, and they don't understand what it is. I got to send this guy a message here to stand by. Apparently they're not listening to the show, which is good because there's a delay, and I don't want that to mess them up. They can listen to it later after they've been on. So when you have somebody that's in that role that is constantly exposed to that frequency, duration, and intensity of exposure to trauma, the likelihood of severe post-traumatic stress symptoms down the road is greater. And the more that happens, the more it becomes a chronic condition. And when you're talking about a ranger that does 5-10 raids a night over the course of a 4 to 6 month period, and they do it over and over and over and over again, that builds up that chronic condition, that chronic response to danger, to live or die, that is very, very difficult to shed once you leave active duty. And then when you go from that to try to transition home, and let me turn that down a little. I turned it up for Magellan, and I might have left that up a little high. When you go home, taking a job just does not seem on the same par as watching your buddy's back in life or death situations. And now you're asking somebody if they'd like to buy a service plan with their phone or welcome to Walmart. I mean, it doesn't even match up in my head as being on the same plane. So it's virtually impossible to make that kind of a transition, and certainly not by yourself. So our society, there's a lot of talk on the high governmental areas of taking responsibility, giving jobs to veterans, and that ain't never going to happen. Nobody owes a veteran anything, and that may be blasphemy talking on Vets on Media, but because I volunteered to serve in the military doesn't mean anybody else owes me a job. I think they owe me some respect and some thanks for what I did, but they don't owe me a job. They don't owe me anything like that. That's for me. It's on me to go out and make my own way in the civilian world, just like I made my own way when I was in the Army. So what happens then is you have somebody that believes they're going to get handed a job when they go home and it doesn't, and things start to fall apart. Now, if those of us veterans who have, those of us, I don't know if that's proper English or grammar or not, but those of us that have transitioned successfully, that have figured it out, I believe we have a calling written in blood with our fellow veterans to give them leadership, support, and resources that help them transition peacefully and successfully. And that's done best one-on-one. An example of this is Boone's Warfighter Pledge. I want you to listen to this, and then I'm going to get ready to bring on my first guest here. Let me find Boone's Warfighter Pledge.
The Spartan Pledge kind of looks like this, and then I'll give you the rundown of how it got started and how popular it's become. Not really popular, just effective. I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family. That's the Spartan Pledge. It's nothing you have to memorize verbatim, but just get the gist of it. And that is, we don't kill ourselves until we talk to our battle buddy. And our mission in life is to have a mission that helps our warfighter family. About 3 years ago when it started between two guys, myself and my battle buddy, Nacho. We were in Iraq together, and we'd lost touch with each other. He called me one night when he was upset because a friend of his had committed suicide. Now, this guy, if I'm not mistaken, was a police officer at the time, but he was also a warfighter. He was a veteran. And that brought up the subject of suicide between us. And we realized that both of us had spent a lot of time thinking about suicide but not talking about it. And with the suicide rate in America being what it is today with warfighters, it's something that is a definite, relevant subject. Since then, I've taken that pledge with other warfighters, more than I can honestly remember. And now not too many people take that pledge with me because they've gone on to take that pledge with other guys, and it's just permeated throughout the community. Every guy I know that I took that pledge with has taken it with several other guys. It's been put on posters on Facebook and all over the place. And in my opinion, nobody owns it. We all own it. We all own a piece of it. We all have a piece of that, the Spartan Pledge, because it's something that means something. Because we don't trust the doctors. We don't even trust our family members, but we trust our battle buddies. So take that pledge with your battle buddy. And remember, if someone takes that pledge with you, that means you're taking it with them. Me, I'd have to call and contact a lot of people if I was going to off myself. And I would, because I took a pledge. That's the descendants of Sparta. That's what it's all about. That's what the Spartan Pledge is. If we can just do that, we don't need all the other stuff. We take care of ourselves, we take care of our own, and we maintain a mission focus. The Spartan Pledge. That's where it comes from, and you decide where it goes. Contact a battle buddy. Talk to him. Find out that what you realize and what you think is reality is not necessarily reality. We all are going through the same thing in silence. You don't have to sign a paper. You don't have to make a dedication online. It's just a phone call between two guys, two warfighters, male or female, doesn't matter. I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family. All the way. Make it happen.
I just got some feedback that Boone was a little echoed on that, so I apologize for that. I'll try and get that cleaned up so that I can play that again here in the future. My multimedia skills are growing exponentially, but they're still at the untrained level. I had no idea the power. I mean, I knew the power of the Spartan Pledge, but hey, I'm really a non-combat veteran. My deployment, my right shoulder scroll from 175 was a gift. We did a show of force jump into Kuwait towards the very end of the pacification, if you will, phase of Desert Storm, the very end of it. Nobody was shooting at us. It was like a big live fire training exercise for us. So I really never thought that I would do that with somebody, but then one of my very best friends, going through a very difficult time, I was talking to him on the phone, and he was scaring me, some of the things that he said, and he ended up taking the Spartan Pledge with me, and he carries one of the Spartan Pledge dog tags, as do I. Same number on both of them, and that's something that it's real, it's valuable, and it works. So what Boone said. All right, I'm getting ready to bring on first Aaron Childress. Let me get the invite going for him. While I do that, I would like you to just have a moment of silence. Remember those brave United Kingdom servicemen that were killed this last week. All right, let's see if we can get Aaron on the line here. Invite is inbound, which he should know that already. Come on, Aaron. Chili Off the Grid is a brand new show on the Dish Network. I met Aaron a couple of years ago when he was going through a transitional period. And I can't even remember right now exactly how the invite or how we got introduced. There he is, the man himself.
How you doing? Can you hear me all right, Carl?
Yeah, I can hear you great. I'm getting lots of you here.
Oh, good.
Go ahead and talk for just a minute. I'll see if I can turn this down a little bit.
Testing. You hear me all right now?
Yeah, they'll let me know. I'll get a text here in a minute if something's fouled up.
All right.
Check my input knob, getting some reverb. All right, I got it turned down just about as low as it goes. So, Adam, you give me another shout back here and let me know. So, what's going on with you today?
Oh, nothing. Just working on editing up what will be considered episode 7 of our first season with Chili Off the Grid. I've been doing a little bit of work on that today. Just sitting at home. We just had the birth of our 3rd child on Saturday, so I'm off from work for about a week, just kind of having fun with that. Well, thank you.
So I was trying to remember as I was dialing you up, I was trying to remember how we actually met. Somebody introduced us, and I don't remember how that was.
Well, it's funny. I did happen to listen to the first part of the show, and I turned it off once the invite came in so that we could catch up on timeline. And it fits well with the opening in that it would be September. It was our anniversary, so it would be September 2nd of 2012. I went into our garage and hung myself, and my wife came out and stopped.
Jumped into that real quick. Back up just a little bit. What was that you said?
September 2nd, 2012. I went into my garage and grabbed a electrical cord and hung myself, and I didn't quite succeed, obviously, but my wife was there, and she pulled me down from that and kind of stopped the process before I could really get it going. And then that next day, I was in the office in the VA mental health office, and they handed me the Gallant Few card and said, "You need to call these people," because they recognized my situation wasn't a situation of, night tremors or PTS or anything of that nature. It was an issue of I felt like a failure, because shoot, I'd been out of the Marine Corps a few years, but I'd been through 15 jobs, and was just feeling like I was not applying myself to a mission, as you stated earlier. I just felt like I wasn't worth anything to anybody, and I was just causing more problems than I was solving. And I don't, I can remember not wanting to do any of that day, but I still did it because I felt like it was the right thing to do to get out of the way. And holy crap, I'm glad I wasn't successful, and thank God for my wife. But that's how we met, through really a bad situation.
So what was it when you left the military? What do you think it was that you said you went through 10 or 15 jobs during that time frame? Was it I don't even know exactly what to ask. Was it that you were trying to get jobs that you weren't prepared for? Was it coming out of the Marine Corps was different than you thought? And you don't have to go into a whole bunch of personal detail. I mean, you can't be much more personal than saying on a live YouTube video that you tried to hang yourself. Yeah. But just because I talked to so many veterans that are going through a difficult transitional time, what was it about that made it difficult, do you think?
Well, what made it difficult was, I left the Marine Corps as a non-commissioned officer and E4 a corporal in the infantry. So there was a point in my career, even earlier on when I was a Lance Corporal in E3, where I was in charge of individuals, and when you're dealing with the infantry, you're dealing with, some high-level stuff sometimes. And then, again, I'll I'll reiterate, I'm not a combat veteran. Some of the things that I did get into were not fun to be involved in as far as training and even some other things we did, but I was still in a supervisory role with some people. And when I left the Marine Corps as a corporal in late 2005, my first job was a janitor.
Go from being a corporal in the Marine Corps to being a janitor.
To being a janitor, and I've always felt like I've had a little bit of talent. I've been, I've been a musician. I've been even a youth pastor. I had a couple years of college under my belt, and that's all I could find. And I was having so many arguments in the workplace, and nothing major. Just they didn't understand how I could speak so direct. Like, for instance, I just talked about hanging myself without batting an eye. That's not normal, and I understand that. And I understand that normal conversation, that people cry and people have this, that, and the other, and that just doesn't happen for me. And it causes a lot of problems in the workplace because I'm very direct, very truthful. But I like to feel that I'm compassionate. I just don't show emotion like normal people do, and I think that's why I shuffled in and out of jobs, being fired a few times. I've been called crazy 5 times by my employer, and then I just don't understand all of it. That's why Gallant Few has been such a huge help to help me understand not myself, but how to address myself to other people, and that I am an American veteran. I was in the Marine Corps. And instead of going to an employer and saying, I was a corporal in the infantry, give me a job. Instead, I was supervisory in the Marine Corps, upwards of 13 individuals. It sounds a lot better to a corporation to say I was supervisor up to 13 individuals as opposed to corporal. They don't know what that means. They don't know.
If I remember right, when you and I met, we sat down, we went over your resume and started talking about what you want to do.
Yeah, we did, and what we went over is at the time, I've always been in media. Obviously now I'm producing a national TV show called Chili Off the Grid on Dish Network, channel 266.
No, that's good. I want you to say that like 10 more times before we're done.
Well, it's important to me because, you birthed that vision in me of helping transitioning veterans, and we've already been on the show with Jay Irwin, Jamie Toy, and we've had a couple other veterans on there, and these are transitioning veterans that are in my position now that I was in maybe a few years ago, and it's great to be able to pay that forward and help these people out on this TV show. And when we went over my resume a couple years ago, Lord, I don't think I ever thought I'd be producing a national TV show, but I did want to be in media. I was doing websites, I was doing video production, as well as photography, and really through the help of Gallant Few, we've gotten here. This is where we are, and we're all part of it. You're a part of it. Jay Irwin's a huge part of it, because of a September when I decided that it was all over, and it really wasn't. It was all just beginning, and I just needed to have the right people in my camp, the right people just telling me to suck it up and get to work. Stop throwing a pity party. Be a man, be a Marine, and go forward with a mission. And that's where we're at right now.
So, congratulations on the show, by the way. I've watched the first 3 episodes of it, and some of the clips that you guys did online, which are hilarious. And that actually, that motivated me to do the little 1-minute commercial that I put out yesterday or the day before, about the show, because I'd never done anything like that before. This is all new stuff for me. So, talk about what is Chili Off the Grid. What does Chili Off the Grid mean? Because I was thinking it was going to be a cooking show, like we're going to have different kinds of chili we get to try out, and none of that's happening. So,
right. Well, Chili. First off, that's my nickname. It's been a family nickname throughout time. My father was a Marine, my uncle was in the Navy, and we just apparently have a lot of lazy friends that don't want to say Childress, so they just say Chili. So there you go with that. I do eat a lot of chili when I'm out hunting and everything, so a lot of people think it does involve chili. The off-the-grid part is not what it's going to mean. It doesn't mean to me what it means to a prepper or a survivalist. To me, I've always been outdoors. I've always hiked, camping. I've been a gunslinger since I was a kid, always shooting guns, everything. But when I did, back in September of 12, when I did hang myself, one of the things, the VA didn't tell me this. I just started this, was I got back to camping and hiking, and I just disconnected. I turned the phone off, and I went to a farm out in northwest Kansas for about 4 to 5 days at a time and just disconnected with everybody. And to me, that was off the grid. So when you hear Chile off the grid, it's just like, hey, I'm out. I got to refocus my mind and make sure that I really understand what's important out there. And so when we go on this show, we take other veterans. They may or may not be in a crisis situation. It's just they're identified to us as people that are looking for a job, or they're in touch with Gallant Few already. And so we bring them on there and try to get them into our group to show them that, hey, we've got a mission and we want you to be part of that mission. So now you have importance. So if you ever get any thought of doing what I did, you better not, because you're letting down 5 other people that are counting on you. And that's one of the big issues with the show. Did I answer your question all right on that, or were you?
You did. One of the things that strikes me about this is, when you think about a corporal in the Marine Corps, it's somebody that's, number one, is going to kick your ass. Number two, it's super professional. It's somebody that doesn't feel pain. And it's somebody that demands excellence in the others that are around him. And I think universally, the veterans that I've spoken with, wartime, peacetime, different levels and different shades in between, but they all go through the same kind of experience that you go through. I went through it. To go from being the assistant S3 of the 1st Ranger Battalion to being the safety director for a 7-Up bottler, where I couldn't get respect from anybody that, walk down the production line, tell a guy, you got to put your safety glasses on, you're going to have an eye put out before those bottles explodes, and they tell me where I can put the bottle. I mean, it's that's the kind of stuff that it is mind-blowing, and it can just destroy your ego, and it can make you really question a lot of things about yourself. And I went through a period of kind of self-doubt, and so I think for somebody like you to stand up and say that, people get tired of hearing me say that, but the more of soldiers, Marines, folks like you that come out and talk about their experiences and what led them to that, I think the more we can reach out to more and more veterans that are out there and help more and more veterans.
Absolutely. And I think it's something that last time we met, well, it's only been a week, I think, when we had breakfast, and something that really struck me was that, the way I got to where I was to get to the point that I wanted to kill myself was, I also understand that I'm not a combat veteran, so I spent 10 years doubting that I could even feel that way, because I wasn't a combat veteran. I would go to meetings. I remember going to the VA 2 years prior to this, and they said, well, we need to send you to mental health and evaluate you, and because we feel like at that time they threw around PTSD, and I said, no, absolutely not. I'm not a combat veteran. That's not me. But I had been fighting with this thought for 10 years, thinking I wasn't even worthy to have this thought. And I think there's a lot of veterans running around right now that are going, no, I never got shot at. That didn't happen. I can't feel this way. I'm going to fight it myself. And I fought it myself for 10 years, and well, at that time it would have been 2012. That would have been 8 years. I mean, I still fight it today. I mean, not a day goes by that I don't think about that. But that, I have a mission now, and I have a calling, and I have people that I care about, and they care about me. So it's a little bit different than it was in 2012. But I think we need to let people know that are not combat veterans. Listen, we understand there's people that deal with this.
So here, one thing I talked a little bit about in the intro. There's a lot of talk on the political side of companies that are promising 200,000 jobs for veterans, and we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. How did you go from a period of self-doubt and trouble following the service to the point to where you tried to kill yourself, and then now you've taken things from your background and you've done some very hard work to get to the point where you've got a show that's appearing on a national network? How I don't want you to go through the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 what you did, but in generalities, because I get guys out there all the time, they're like, man, the only thing that I know how to do is carry a gun and go overseas and walk into villages and talk to people and shoot who I need to shoot. So that's the only thing that I can do. But how did you make that big switch to a TV show?
Well, that's a good question. I've always been quite diverse in what I do. I like to keep my options open, but being a Marine, it's this as well as I do. It's the combat arms mindset of the military is that we're going to do it. That's it. We are going to do it regardless. And the loss of that mission, after about 8 years of separation from the Marine Corps, separation from my friends, that's what kind of got me down that path of, I'm going to hang myself. And a lot of that was, depression, going through jobs. But I think I lost my mission. And then meeting you and meeting with Gallant Few and gathering a mission again, then it was like, okay, I've got skills and abilities. I can do this. I can do that. Yeah, I can carry a gun, and I can go shoot a gun pretty well. I'm not a bad shot. But that wasn't part of the equation at that point. I started taking little things that I was good at. I was good with a camera. Not great, but I was good. I was good at editing things. Not great, but I was good. I was good at websites. Not great, but good. And I took them and I just started to build on those and give myself a mission just the same way I would have given myself a mission as a corporal. So you know what? You're going to do this and you're going to be the best at it, because if you're not the best at it, you're a failure just like you were if you would have failed in the Marine Corps. So go forward. Push forward, don't give up, and do everything you can until the day you die. And that's the way I live my life, and that was lost on me for a couple of years back when we went south a little bit.
Is it easy figuring out how to do this show? I mean, is it just like I'm going to do a show and it just kind of happens, or what?
Yeah, honestly, it is. It's easy because I'm going from a point where I'm on borrowed time in my view. I mean, it's cliche, but with my wife doesn't walk out in the garage, we're not having this conversation, and so I look at it like I have the ability to do it. I'm just going to do it. If you don't like it, I don't care. I'm doing it. It's my mission, my goal. There's people that I think we can reach by doing this, so I'm doing it. I really don't care if you're in my way. You're going to get run over.
But you are, and maybe I should have phrased that question just a little bit. I'm leading you into it. You're working your tail off. I mean, you get a full-time job. You're working during the day, and you're producing and filming the show at nights and on weekends, and you have gone out and got sponsors and people that will help pay for it, because it ain't free. I mean, Dish Network didn't say, hey, that's such a great concept for a show. We're going to pay you $100,000 to come on our show. No, you are funding it. You're developing the whole thing, right?
Right, absolutely. But, Carl, you know as well as I do, combat arms, we're 24/7 job. I mean, it's not like we're not used to this. I mean, we work day in, day out. First sergeant comes and knocks on your door at 3 a.m. to go do something, you're going to be up doing it, and that's the mindset I carry through for the show. Yep. If it's 8 o'clock at night and somebody says, we got to go shoot some coyotes, we can go shoot some coyotes.
Awesome. Okay, where's your show again?
Dish Network on channel 266. It's going to be Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Central.
Well, congratulations on the show, and congratulations on where you are at your point in life now. I'm proud of you. And are you in the doghouse, by the way? Is your wife mad at you?
That is the doghouse, actually. I got 2 labs that live down there, and it's actually an interesting story. One is my, they have PTSD dogs. Again, I don't have PTSD, but he is my dog that's kind of my companion. And we have another one down here that we're going to be giving away as a PTSD dog that lives down here as well. So nice. That's their little house.
Well, hey, man, thanks for being on the show. I'll make sure, and when I publish the post-show blog, I'll put the links on for your show so somebody can watch, because if you don't subscribe to Dish Network, and I don't, I used to a long time ago, but I don't now, yeah. But I can go watch after it's aired. You have the show up on your YouTube channel so people can watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's worth watching. It really is. It's entertaining. It's a good show.
Thank you. Carl, thank you for everything you've done in my life, man. You are a godsend.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but it's igniting that little spark that's in you. That's all that needs to happen.
It worked.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm going to move on to the next. I'm going to let you hang up, because I'm afraid I'll end the broadcast if I try to hang up on you, switch to somebody else.
All right, tell Sergio we're going to go on a fight.
Oh, okay. I'll make sure you know. I'll do the announcing. I'll be the ring announcer. So. All right, hang on here. Before I bring Sergio on, that was a good interview. I'm glad that got a chance to talk to him. I've been wanting to do that for a while. We have this little thing called First Saturday Breakfasts that we've been doing across the country, and it initially came about because I heard my daughter talking about when we lived in Kansas. She was talking about first Saturdays, if I remember. Maybe it was first Friday, last Friday, final Friday. Okay, I'm getting it now. Final Friday, but that's an event in Wichita where everybody goes down to the trendy part of town where all the bars and pubs and music and all that other stuff is, and everybody's got specials. So everybody knows the final Friday of the month, that's where you go because that's the happening place to be. So I started thinking, well, why don't we have like something like that for veterans in every community across the country? And we talked about, do we do something in the evening, during the week? Is it on the weekend? And we decided we didn't want it to be anything to do with alcohol. And we want it to be something that's cheap. We want it to be something that anybody can go and they can sit there, and if they don't have any money, they can just get a glass of water. If they want to have a full breakfast, they can pay for breakfast, but it affords them an opportunity. Oh, and nobody has to be like the host in terms of making reservations and laying out money and reserving a room and all of that kind of stuff. Not necessary. We just need somebody that's motivated enough to identify where should we go, talk to the manager. Hey, is it okay? Can we set a couple of tables aside over here on the first Saturday of each month for veterans, and then see what happens. Get the word out and see what happens. So this is First Saturday Savannah. Brandy Mai talking about this a couple of weeks ago when I talked to her at Fort Benning.
This is Brandy Mai. Join us for the First Saturday Veterans Breakfast every first Saturday of the month at Perkins Restaurant on I-95 and Highway 204 at 9 a.m. If you want to find us on Facebook, look up facebook.com/groups/First Saturday Savannah. See you there.
So I was at the SAUSA event over the weekend, and Ross Perot, was the main host of the thing. And I told him about Veteran First Saturdays, and you know what he did? He turned around to a room full of 1,000 people, and he did this. So Ross Perot gave us his seal of approval for First Saturday Breakfast. So if you don't have one in your area, then you need to go and you need to find one, or you need to make one happen. So, it's really that easy. Okay, what station are we on again? I keep trying to remember this.
Hi, this is Jay Irwin. I'm an Army veteran, and you're listening to the New American Veteran on Vets on Media.
Jay's one of my favorite people in the world, and he's one Aaron was just talking about a minute ago. Okay, let me see if I can get Sergio on the line. Sergio Machado. And one of these days, I'm actually going to have an assistant that is able to do this and get people on the line, so I can keep looking at the camera and doing all the things that dancing in the background and stuff that make people want to watch the show. That might actually make people not want to watch the show, so maybe I shouldn't do that. All right, let's see if we can get the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt world champion, Sergio Machado, on the line. And I might need to text him and say, hey, invite is coming in your way. All right, it says that he is watching the show. There is a delay, however, so let me tell him, invite sent. We're still, last week when we did this show is the very first time I'd used Google Hangouts to have the video portion of this. And something that, let's talk about the vision here of the guys. Adam Bird and I had this discussion from Vets on Media. Their vision is to have this, Jamie Fawbush is the other co-founder of this. Their vision is to have a network of veteran media across the country that can talk about veteran issues, that can talk about stuff that's fun for veterans, entertaining for veterans, by veterans and for veterans, but all across the country. And by doing this, where it's an internet broadcast so you can listen to it live, you can watch it live on a YouTube simultaneous broadcast, you can, Sergio says he's waiting. Sergio, I sent you the invite. Let me do it again. But and then you can go to like iTunes and you can download the show and watch it later. So let me send, as I'm trying to talk, it's like walking and chewing gum at the same time. Sometimes it's kind of a difficult thing to do. There we go. We got another invitation resent to him. it's when you lose your train of thought and you're right in the middle of something, it's a terrible thing. No, but I was talking about being able to go out to iTunes and download the broadcast and listen to it when you're driving or when you're riding a commuter train or when you're on a flight or anything like that. Let me tell Sergio, sent again. See if we can get him on the line here. And if not, I'm going to queue up something else, and we'll play this while I figure out how to get him on the line. Matter of fact, since he's not on the line yet, this is Ranger Bemis. Ranger Bemis telling a little bit about his story here. Let me play this.
What do you stand to lose when you make the choice to drink and drive? Your career, the people that you love the most, your ability to walk, your ability to use your hands. The list goes on and on. What do you stand to gain when you make the choice to not drink and drive? You stand to gain everything. I made the choice to drink and drive, and that's some of the things I lost. Learn from my mistakes. Make the right choice. Don't drink and drive. Rangers lead the way.
All right, it looks like Sergio's about ready to come in here, I think. Let's get him on the line. I can see him in the chat. We're going to try it again. Not that Sergio. There's a couple of different Sergios out there. I want to make sure I don't invite the wrong one, because if I bring a Sergio on the line that's not the right Sergio, then I'm going to have the right Sergio go talk to him, because he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And no, you can't do that. I don't think you can do that. He's trying to call me. He's trying to video call me. All right, one more try. Oh, I wish that you could see what I'm seeing over here, because it's pretty funny, me trying to talk, look at the camera, look at my computer, keep everything all straight here. Let's get Sergio on the line. We did a test run yesterday so that we knew that it would work. And we're going to do this. We're going to try this invite one more time. And if that doesn't work, then I'm going to try and click this other little camera thing here and see. It'd be real nice if I could like drag him into the picture, but I don't think I can drag him into the picture. He's on the same one. This has just got to be absolutely fascinating to everybody out there. It's pulling it up as a new video, and it's not going to work. Well, Sergio, buddy, it's on you. You got it. He's saying, I got everything going. I don't know why I don't see it. Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know. Sergio, I can't call you. I can only send you an invite. And you know what? Since you're listening to me out there, go check your Google email and check one of those funky other folders like the social updates or something. See if you have 3 or 4 email invitations in there now, because that's probably where it's going to be. And while he does that, I'm going to let you listen.
This is Carl Monger. This is our version of Gallant Fuse Man on the Street interview. I'm standing here with Tommy Amenta,
What's going
COO
on,
of Ranger Up. How are you, Tommy?
Doing really well, Carl. Doing really well.
What's new in the Ranger Up world?
Well, we talked the other night, and we're hot and heavy into trying to find the next great veteran entrepreneur. The crowdsourcing effort that we had was a success. We raised the money necessary to be able to bring in a budding veteran entrepreneur who's got a great idea, who wants to come in and refine their business plan, learn how to run a business. And so right now, if you go to therhinoden.com and search veteran entrepreneur, you'll find all the requirements. You can also go to indiegogo.com/rangerup, and you'll see on our update what all the requirements are to be for the program. And right now, we're just trying to find the right person. We're trying to find that person who's going to come in with a really good attitude, work really, really hard, be motivated, you know, be dedicated. I mean, basically, and I'm not trying to be disparaging to anyone, but we're looking for that awesome PFC that came out of basic training that is just hungry to be, you know, for them it was to be a soldier or to be a Marine or to be a sailor. For us, we're looking for someone who's hungry to learn and really wants to be able to, in a year after they come in, take the reins and run their own small business.
How many have you had apply so far?
You know, we've had, I believe we've had 2 formal packets come through. I think that's where we're at right now. We've had a lot of interest. The thing that's sort of interesting to me is that some people seem to think that this is just like they just like sort of fill out a form. Yeah, and it's not. You know, we need to see what the best that you have for your business plan. I need your resume. I need your DD-214, and also what we're asking people to do is send in a video, because in order, the deal that we made with our fans is we need your help to fund this because it's expensive, but you're going to be able to see every step of the way of the journey for this veteran entrepreneur, from the time that we pick them to the time that they're out on their own and we toss them the keys to their new, you know, business. So, you know, that's been a little bit, you know, I'm sort of surprised that there's been a little bit of a question or concern there. But, you know, we're not trying to blow someone up. We just want people to be able to see what we're doing. We want to demonstrate that we're being good stewards with, you know, 800 people's money.
Yeah, we talked about that a minute ago. That the minute that somebody actually they're not buying something.
Yes.
When they give you, they're trusting you to do something with it. That changes things.
It does, and it's, you know, it's a little scary, because if I have a bad shirt, it happens every now and then. You know, we send out thousands of shirts a week. I can fix that. I can get you a new product. You know, but I can't fix, for lack of a better term, someone who's disappointed with the program. I don't, you know, and so far the response has been great. We've gotten so many people, you know, hey, you know, I donated, like, when's the first webisode? Like, and we keep telling them, like, hey, this is what we're going through. And Nick and I are actually contemplating sort of, we did a video to show, like, other requirements, but sort of like going through it and things like that. It is coming. You know, but it does. It's funny. We were talking about last night. I actually talked to Larry over at Lead the Way Fund, and he's like, it's really different when it's not your money or it's not your idea. And we were just kind of chuckling about it. But I'm excited about the challenge too. I'm really excited for people to see the effort that Ranger Up is putting in, because to us, we've always firmly believed that you give back more to your community than you take. Look, I'm a businessman. I need to make money to continue to run the company, and I want the company to do well. I want the company to grow. I want the company to continue to make more money. But to us, there's always been a right way and a wrong way to do it. And one of the right way is, okay, you know, it's coming down, supporting events like this at the Best Ranger competition, because this is where Nick and I grew up. You know, supporting Gallant Few and some of the other initiatives that you and I talked about, are the way that, you know, Lead the Way and just some of the other charitable, like, we're giving back to our community. We want it to be better, because veterans have issues, veterans have challenges, and for us, you know, Nick and I are like, we've done all right at this online business thing. Like, we've learned some lessons, and, you know, he left RTB as an instructor. You know, I was an instructor for over a decade in the National Guard. Like, you know, we're sort of naturally teacher-centric. So it's like, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our 1% in veterans, you know, and our goal is to try and turn them into the other 1%. And then, you know, they understand they come in the program, like, when you're successful, and we really believe they will, pay it forward. So
what's the suspension or the suspense date, the cutoff?
You know what? It's not firm yet. I think that the suspense date is probably going to end up being somewhere around the 1st to the 15th of June, because I want people to have a chance to get, you know, one guy that called us like, hey, you know, I did my first video, it's not great. I'm like, look, dude, I don't need an Oscar-winning short or anything like that for a documentary, but just, you know, if you're concerned about it, just, you know, talk to yourself in the mirror. It sounds stupid, but that's how a lot of people in that world, you know, do it.
Your
just
friends
to
watch that video.
Yeah.
Let them tell you if it's done.
To see. So we are sensitive to the fact that we want to make sure people have the opportunity. So probably right on there. Plus, you know, Tim Kennedy's fighting Michael Bisping for the Tough Nations.
A couple of days.
In a couple of days, and so that has been a very large, you know, time tax on the company. Me being here at Best Ranger, when your executive team are both in 2 different places at the same time for a few days, and then also, you know, we had to run the campaign to crowdsource the money, so we did that. Then, you know, we sort of had to move it around, like, okay, well, it lives here in this budget, like all these things that you don't think about, which again is why we want to bring someone in, why we want to show me, like, listen, here are the mistakes we made in the first few years of business. Here's how we can help you get past them. Here are the things that you need to know with an inventory base, you know, or your service-based idea, and go from there. So, you know, we've constantly been pushing it, but the push is going to pick up here in about the next 30 days very aggressively.
And that's rhinoden.com?
Rhinoden.com. Search Veteran Entrepreneur. or I think it's actually still in the scrolling menu. I will double check that and shoot you an email.
I need to do a blog post too on
okay.
the blog. So
I will get you the link.
All right, Tommy. Hey, it's good to see you out here.
Good to
Stranger competition.
Good to see you, brother. Always.
All right.
Well, wouldn't you know it, we're still having a little trouble here getting Sergio on the line. Now we're going to run out of time, so we may have to regroup and try and bring him back on the call or back on the line at a future show. I really want to talk to him because he's got some cool things that are going on. I've got him in my other ear. So, all right, Sergio, I just sent you one more, and I'm talking on the live show at the same time. So if you don't get this one, then we're going to have to call it a day, and we'll come back and revisit it later because we're going to run out of time in the show. All right, brother. Well, I'll coordinate with you. We'll do it. We got people really fired up to watch you next time. We'll amp up the anticipation. All right, thanks. Well, I apologize for that. Not sure why we weren't able to get Sergio on the line because, believe it or not, we actually did a test shot yesterday, and it worked great. And he and I had a nice little video chat last night confirming that everything worked. So, but now here we are coming up to the end of the hour on the show, and I really don't want to go more than an hour because an hour of looking at me, even though you get to look at somebody else in the meantime, is entirely too much. But I sure appreciate those of you that are on the line. One of these days I'm going to figure out how do I bring on folks to text in questions and ask questions, because as we get more and more folks that are listening and participating in the show, I think we're going to have some live dialogue that's going on. Let me do a quick station ID, and then we'll get ready to close out. I had my mom in here last week. She sat next to me, and she was quiet as a mouse the whole time. And afterwards, I was joking, "Mom, you never asked a question." She said, "Well, you never shut up long enough for me to ask it." So here, I'll let Mom have a little shot here.
Hi, this is Carl's mom, and you are listening to the New American Veteran on the Vets on Media Network.
It's just like she's sitting right here next to me. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate you doing that for me. Next week, I am not going to be on the call, or I'm not going to be on the show. Boy, that sounds really weird. And I can't take it back because it's live YouTube. I'm not going to be broadcasting next week because I'm going to be in D.C. And I've got a couple of meetings this weekend. I'm going to the first Saturday in D.C. I'm dragging my son-in-law, who here in about a month is going to be promoted to Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force and his Pentagon job. And I'm going out because my daughter just had some surgery and I got to help with the kid. So I'll be working remote. I'll take my office with me. My office fits in my computer bag. And as long as I've got that in a cell phone, I'm in business. So it'll probably be 2 weeks before I'm back on this show. Maybe we'll do some sort of a rebroadcast or something next week. So those of you that are just dying to be able to hear my voice will be able to do that. I always, ever since the beginning of this show for the last 3 years, I've done taps at the end of the show, and I do that not out of a sad way, although the song is very somber, but I do it because taps is it's meaningful, it's respectful, and every time that I hear that song, it takes me back to those that I served with, those that I lost on active duty, and even when my stepdad passed away a couple of years ago, and they played taps at his funeral because he's an Air Force World War II veteran. It brings all of those memories back, and also at the end I had to add a disclaimer because YouTube thought I was stealing a recording of taps from somebody, and that entirely is not true. So thanks for being on the New American Veteran. Thanks for listening to the New American Veteran today, and we'll get Sergio on the very next show. That beautiful rendition of Taps is a public domain recording created by a soldier or employee of the United States Army and as such is not eligible for copyright protection in the United States. Kenny Thomas' song Send Me is used by permission of Kenny Thomas. All other work or recording is original work or used by permission. This has been a presentation of Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran, on the Vets on Media Global Network.